We are live. Hello and good evening. Welcome to Passion Speak, where we give those with a passion a platform to speak and where we have the goal to enlighten and inspire. My name is Sandra Jennings, and thank you for watching. We are broadcasting live and taking your questions and comments. It is our intent to broadcast every Thursday at 7:05 p.m. Eastern, so please tune in. Thanks again for watching. If this is your first time, come back and be inspired by the stories of those who are passionate. If you are watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe for more. Feel free to comment on our live. This is the judgment-free zone. Ta-da! My guest tonight is the board president for the local Grand Rapids Film Festival 2022. The GR Film Festival has the mission and vision, in part, of implementing programming that promotes creative and outside of the box thinking, inclusion, and exhibition and quality entertainment. Welcome, GR Film Festival Board President Amanda Morton.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate this. And I'm so excited about the event coming up. Um, so before we go into a little bit, tell us a little bit about yourself. I want to hear, and then we're going to talk about the film festival.
Okay, so I did not necessarily intend to join the board, didn't even understand or know really quite what boards were. At the time, I went to a screening of a local filmmaker, and the screening was something that covered human trafficking. And so when I was there, I met fellow board member Diana Lamprey, and she came up to me and we were talking and kind of heard a little bit about her background and why she was there. And she just looked at me and she was like, well, and somehow the Grand Rapids Film Festival came up. And she said, well, we're looking for a president. Would you be interested? And I was like, well, let's talk about it, maybe. So I met the rest of the board, the interim president, and thought it would be a good opportunity to take the festival and turn it into something that was inclusive in type of media, also attractive to a larger background of people. Because as everybody knows, film is expensive. So sometimes that creates divides in who is able to participate. And so I want to be a part of bringing those divides down. So that's kind of how I got involved in the festival. Prior to that,
Back up.
yeah,
This is Grand Rapids. Let's just put that out there. A small market.
right.
Were you born and raised here?
Yes. So I was born in Grand Rapids, attended East Kentwood High School, went to Grand Valley State University. And my senior year, I got an internship with Universal Studios in creative development. And so that is what brought me out to LA. I was there for almost 6 years working in content creation. So I worked with Universal. From there, I was a executive assistant to Penny Marshall, and then I ended up with a job at the Lakers doing live content producing for an app, and then ended up with Warner Brothers, the Real talk show, and doing content and social media management, and then moved back here. During that time, I also did smaller films. The film that's closest to my heart is called Star Thieves, and it's a sci-fi with a very diverse cast. We've been moving with it. We've had meetings with like Warner Brothers and large corporations and large investors, just haven't been able to quite snag that final piece. But we're discussing even just moving forward and self-funding and taking it to cons and showing it off. And so, sometimes you just have to be a little unorthodox when it comes to being a filmmaker.
Okay, so the Grand Rapids Film Festival, I was looking at it. It's not new here. You are new on the board. You've been on what, a year?
So I took over at the end of 2019, but we haven't been able to do a full festival because of COVID. So this
Okay.
will be the first like large scale festival that I've kind of undertaken.
So we historically we've had festivals in the past here, right?
Yep. Thriller Chiller has been really big in the past for horror. The Feminist Film Festival, and I don't think either of them are having festivals this year. I'm not 100% sure. There's Latino Film Festival, so there's some other smaller ones, but the Grand Rapids Film Festival, I would say Chiller Thriller and the Feminists are probably the larger pieces in Grand Rapids.
So what exactly is a film festival? I mean, what does it mean for those people who are not familiar with that at all?
Yeah, so every film festival is a little different. I would say Lansing Film Festival is very traditional. They have their shorts and their features, a couple days where you can look on the schedule and they have all different screenings, and you go and you attend. So it's a place for local filmmakers or smaller filmmakers to kind of show off their work, to network, to build an audience, and to learn. The first film festival I was ever in actually was with a gentleman named Eric Alexander Hughes, and he's actually going to be a judge for this film festival. And it was the first project we put together, this documentary. And so, as a filmmaker, when you're sitting there and your film is being played for all of these people, one of the things that I don't think people talk about is the impact the reactions have on you. So you're sitting there, and the part that's supposed to be funny, everybody laughs at. The part that's supposed to be shocking, everybody's gasping at. And those little reactions make you like, yes, your intent got across. And so you can't necessarily get that through streaming or through other means. And so the film festival does deliver a lot of that reaction and that self-confidence building, as well as the networking, and kind of a stepping stone into building a career.
Okay, and I have a follow-up question, but we have a comment. Ariel is saying, so she has a film in the works. I think I
Yeah.
will say, and I'll let you speak to this, but she is the board director of the Grand Rapids Film Festival. We're going to have a film festival right here in the city of Grand Rapids, and you can speak to it more, Amanda.
Yeah, so you're correct. I am the president of the board, but I also do have a film in the works, correct? So it's very new in the works. We literally just applied for funding. We had taken out a loan for the short. The short did really well. We made our money back on it. And after going through talking to different investors, we had somebody lined up right before COVID. COVID happened, movie theaters closed. So kind of set us back. So just this last week, one of the directors reached out and was like, "Hey, we're gonna do this, rain or shine. How can we go about this from a production standpoint and marketing standpoint to make sure we're successful?" So yes, hopefully
Thanks,
this
Ariel.
time next year, right, you'll be hearing about my film. It's called Star Thieves. If you look it up on YouTube, there's some different little trailers and things to show off the short.
Okay, thanks for chiming in, Ariel. Okay, so um, this year's film festival, I know that it will be filming or you'll be showing films downtown,
Yep.
but will you be showing all over Grand Rapids at the various theaters?
So not exactly, but potentially. So I'll break it down.
Okay.
The film festival on Friday will be a kickoff party at Muse. They partnered with us last year. We worked with Muse on the 24-hour challenge. It was phenomenal, amazing. Can't speak high enough about Muse as a entity for art. So we're going to do the kickoff party there for networking. There's going to be a small panel about film in Grand Rapids. That is a free event. So let me repeat that, free event. If you are interested in film or meeting people and learning more about film, that's where you need to be. I think it's September 22nd is the date, that Friday. On the 23rd, we will be at Black Pigeon. We will have a acting workshop and a camera workshop that day. Those are paid and they're limited spots, but you definitely, if you're interested, should check it out. They are led by industry leaders. You can do your research. You can Google them, look them up, see what they've worked on. Local too. So we tried to make sure people understand, like, not everybody who's talented has left the city. There are still people, here. And then we're kicking off the 24-hour challenge. And that means you'll get 3 elements. And if you sign up, you and your team have 24 hours to make a 1-minute story video. The grand prize for that is $500. And this will be our second year doing that, so I'm excited. And then Sunday, the 24th, is kind of like the big awards and screening day. So that will be at Studio Park, and we will have the commercials, the music videos, and the shorts streaming. There's going to be 2 screens from 10 a.m. until I think like 5 p.m. And then we're going to start showcasing the micro film challenge of 24 hours and kind of playing those on the screen for the judges. So it's going to be a live judging for the 24 hours. I get to judge, which I love for the 24-hour challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we go and discuss and add up all our points, which is really cool, hopefully we're in talks for some production companies to be bringing out some fun equipment. There will be a DJ, there will be drinks, all of that. And then we'll come out and we'll have the awards ceremony. Inside during the day, during this whole 10 to 5, will be feature length screenings. And so, yeah, there's a lot. It's a lot going on. So the outdoor ones are all free. The indoor ones, there is a ticket cost, but it's very low. And you can attend as many screenings as you want. So it's like a $10 ticket, and you can go to any screen for the entire day within the film festival. So if you want to see 2 of the films, you can. If you want to see 5 of the films they're playing, you can. And so those, the filmmakers will be there. So there's some opportunities to kind of meet and network at that point too. Now, the grand prize for the feature-length film, one of the things is Celebration Studios is going to allow a screening for a premiere if you haven't had an official premiere, or just a screening in general. So you'll get the screening, like the premiere time. Mm-hmm. You will have a day at Black Pigeon for studio time, which that can be a pretty penny. And then Muse is also kicking in a day of their event space. So if you wanted to do like a premiere party plus the screening, that would all kind of be combined. So they could pick a different day to do that screening. Obviously it won't be the same time as the festival, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
So this is for the filmmakers and the whole crew surrounding the production of a particular film. And so they have the opportunity to win prizes, right?
Yes.
And you have multiple categories for them to win.
Mm-hmm. And we are just adding additional prizes that we have not yet told anybody. So you're hearing it first.
Oh, yay. I'm kind of excited about that.
I know. So art prize, whoa, confetti. Art prize came through with an additional $1,500 of cash prizes. So on top of all the benefits for the feature film, the premiere, the event space, the studio time, the trophy, notoriety, you also get $750. So
okay, so
art prize.
So there are 5 different categories where you're accepting films for competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all this is on the website, but give you a sneak peek. You're giving prizes for all these, right? Feature length, short film, music videos, commercials, and the 24-hour microfilm challenge, which you explained.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, Go ahead.
I was going to say, on top of what's on the website for the prizes, the additional is that $750 for the feature-length film from Art Prize, the $250 for commercials, audience vote. So if you submit your commercial, make sure you have people come vote. The $250 for the microfilm challenge, audience vote. So again, make sure you have people there to screen it, to vote for you. And the 250 for the music video audience vote, audience choice. So yeah, that's all in addition to all the awards that were already being given through the film festival, but Art Prize decided to come in and add some additional, funding and support for our filmmakers.
Okay. So let's talk about who, as far as the creatives, do they have to live here to be a part of this, and or do they? So explain that piece too.
Anyone can submit. You can have been from Michigan and moved. You could have never lived in Michigan. It doesn't make a difference. Because we are a local film festival, we do have for one of our rules, if when all these projects get judged, I am not the judge for all of them. I do the 24-hour film festival portion of the film festival. The feature length, music video, shorts, commercials all have their own set of judges. If there is a tie between two projects, we will choose a Michigan project over an out of state project. But otherwise, if you're out of state, you are definitely welcome, especially if you are local ish, right? If you can drive in from Indiana, Ohio, that's always nice to have more people at the event. But even if you're not going to attend, feel free to put your hat in the ring. If you think you have a project that can win, put it in there. Like, we'd love to see it.
Now, are there rules? There definitely are rules, but surrounding when the film was actually created. Like if somebody has a 10-year-old film in their arsenal, can they submit that one?
No. So I have to check because I don't know why I didn't think about this. So it usually is 2 years. And if a film is more than 2 years old, then you cannot submit it from the release date. So not when you started filming, because if you're doing a documentary, you might start filming 10 years before you actually finish the project. However, I remember discussing moving it to a 3-year time span because of COVID. A lot of people weren't able to submit into films because we didn't have it. So I believe we did move it to 3-year. And because I'm live and I'm saying this, if it's 3 years, we will accept it because my board will accept it. So you're good with that.
Okay.
But it is
Beautiful.
standard, usually 2 years, just for people who are curious or learning about film festivals.
Okay. So where do these prizes come from? You have sponsors?
So we get grants and we kind of save our own money, move it from the last festival. None of the board members or our partners get paid. So I want to make sure that is perfectly clear. Any money that you spend either goes to bring in like maybe outside talent for the workshops. We are paying the people to lead the workshops, but judges aren't paid, board members aren't paid. And so that money gets kind of recycled so that we can use it next year for the awards or for renting space or equipment or whatever is needed. We did receive a grant from the Grand Rapids Chamber of Commerce this year for part of the arts program. So that was really nice. Yeah, and so hopefully they come out and kind of see the festival and see what is happening and how we are trying to help shape the art world. And then we had some sponsors come on big time. Studio C, they are letting and hosting the space without charging us for it. So that is very great. And so they've come on as a partner. And then, of course, Muse is helping out and Black Pigeon. The three of us are, I would say, hosting this together. And then we've had, some smaller contributions. Angles Production is really wanting to get involved, and we are really looking forward to receiving their help as we continue to grow. And so it's just trying to bring all of these different entities for film together in one spot and work together on something unique that kind of benefits the whole as a community.
I had a question on the tip of my tongue, but and totally escaped me because I'm like all into it. I really love the whole idea of filmmaking, and I love that we're having a festival here.
Yes.
And but I'm trying to I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Friday, Saturday, and potentially all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And I'm trying to figure out what I want to do and how I want to do it. But talk to me about volunteer. Well, first, before we go into volunteer, um, okay. So Ariel's asking more questions. So you have a list of filmmakers who are looking for funding. Yeah, this will create a list of filmmakers, right?
I don't say I have a list written down, but I do know filmmakers that are looking for funding, both locally and on a larger extent, because my hands are always in every little pile.
Hmm.
So yeah, if you are looking for scripts that are completed or to get into financing films, I definitely have some people for you. And it just kind of depends what you're looking for. Um, I I don't directly have anybody I know that's doing documentaries that's looking for funding. However, I know documentary filmmakers, and so I'm sure they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I know Jim, Bob, and Kate who are all looking." So, um,
It doesn't necessarily have to be documentaries. It could be feature films, music videos,
mhm.
uh, all
Oh,
of the above, right?
I'm just saying, personally, I'm not as connected within the documentary world. But
Oh,
yeah, feature films and shorts, I know tons of people who have pretty good projects, which is weird and is a little off topic. However, when I worked for Penny Marshall, and worked for Universal, that was both in creative development. And what that means is you're kind of reading the scripts, analyzing the scripts, and figuring out if the financing makes sense for different scenes and things like that, or if the script needs to be adjusted.
hmm.
And it was amazing how many scripts you read that weren't that good that got made. And you'd only find a couple every so often that were great scripts. And I remember those scripts. And I stay in contact with those filmmakers. And I'm surprised neither of them have gotten made, but they made me cry. One of them was a project that Penny had taken on. Um, it was about the Negro Leagues and the story behind this woman who she married a guy who he had liquor wasn't allowed. So he had an illegal establishment. She told him he needs to take it legit or she would not be interested in him. So he got into the Negro Leagues and she really played such a role. Um, and she was always standing up against um, prejudice. So at the end, she developed a relationship with a lot of the players. They became like her children, but her whole goal was to integrate. And so once it became integrated, she lost all her kids essentially, and she lost her everything that she had been working on, but she was so happy. And so it was just such a bittersweet script. And Penny owned the rights for that, and when she passed, they returned to the writer, and I don't think that's been repicked up. And then there's another one um, that's about Machine Gun Kelly that I absolutely love. It's written by a Canadian couple, and I talk to them about every 6 months. And they've had different offers here and there, but they haven't locked it down. And it tells it again from a perspective of Machine Gun Kelly was known to be ruthless, but he wasn't very smart. And so his partner in form of a woman, and she was kind of the mastermind behind it all. And it was just very well written. And so it just always surprises me because sometimes you'll read scripts and you're like, how did somebody, but it's usually because a name was attached or things like that. And then sometimes
Wow.
there's really, really solid scripts that because they can't attach a name, they're not able to find funding. So I have a list of some scripts that I've pre-approved, and I have a list of other filmmakers who are looking, definitely.
Okay, really quick back to the Grand Rapids Film Festival.
Sorry.
Volunteer opportunities. I know
Right.
that you have your board of directors. Who are they, by the way?
So we have the board is has been reduced and is now growing. So we have Stephanie Norton, Diana Lamphere, and I don't think I'm pronouncing her last name right, Lamphere. And then we have the new, they are board members kind of in training. And so that's Trayvon Applewhite and Samuel Gears. And then we have a couple board members who help out with the event, and they helped out last year. So Michael Buxton, um, Roy, oh boy, I think it's Wallace, but let me make sure before I say it wrong. And let's say, yep, Wallace, I had it right. And so we are kind of fluid. We are accepting more board members. We are a working board. Like I said, we do the work. We're not paid, but it's really fun. Um, and so worth it to see the reaction on everybody's faces and get people involved. And so,
Well, talk to me about, not to interrupt you, but talk to me just a little bit about volunteer opportunities on top of the board. Now, those are specialized.
yeah,
What about like the festival volunteers? Are you accepting volunteers for the weekend?
yes. So we are almost complete with volunteers, but we could do with about 2 to 4 more. The volunteers for Friday night would just kind of be walking and making sure everything is running in order. Nobody needs anything. And so that's not too chaotic. You get to really enjoy the networking and just kind of, you're like on call.
Mhm.
Uh, Saturday for the workshops, we do have, I think, one workshop where we could have another volunteer. Basically, they're helping who is leading the class. And so they get to attend the workshop for free, and by helping out. And that Saturday, I think we need one volunteer for the 24 hours to pass some stuff out. And then Sunday is where the bulk of it goes. We are working with Celebrations to figure out how we're going to go about the ticketing for the events. But I would personally like to have a volunteer at the door of the screening, people kind of directing people, into Studio Park onto the green alleyways so that they can watch, and explaining and helping people know how to vote, because there's going to be QR codes, and walking them through that process. So there's a lot, if you like to be involved, and you want to kind of test it out and see,
Mhm.
like, well, maybe I want to do a board, but let me just volunteer a little bit first, see what this is about. You can email me. It's amanda@grfilmfestival.com. So it's super easy.
Okay.
And yeah,
It's a lot of moving parts.
it is.
Um, there, I'm just thinking about, what about the creative who has not yet developed into filmmaking, but would like some connections? When do they show on the scene? Is it the whole weekend or definitely Friday?
Definitely Friday, and definitely the 24-hour film challenge. So, part of coming on, I have a background in film, but I also made a lot of money making digital content. That's what I did for the Lakers. That's what I did for Warner Brothers, The Real. And so I think in filmmaking, we tend to think about film, and then we think about shorts, and we forget that there's all these other mediums, that are really important. And so we added the music videos because I think there's so much talent in music videos, that if they get the right connections, they can then progress to feature length films. And same with commercials. But that is a good way to kind of make your living as you are learning and still practicing your skill.
Mhm,
And then the people who haven't yet, they're interested in film, but they've never filmed anything. That, kind of how you asked about.
mhm.
That is what the 24-hour film challenge is about. It is coming. You have no script. You do not need a fancy camera. You can shoot it on your phone. The majority of people shot it on their phones last year. You shoot it, you edit it, you create a storyline. You can see the audience's reaction. You get feedback from judges, and you kind of get to learn, is it something you enjoy? Is it something that you're good at? And you have fun in the process and maybe win some money. So that is definitely, like, you want to participate in the 24-hour microfilm challenge. And then you definitely Friday want the networking. I would suggest coming Sunday evening for the networking as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Um,
A lot of film.
yeah, but for those who love that, and I do love it. I love being on the spectator end, as well as watching some of the moving parts. I'm not a part of it, but I do love watching you creatives get in there because I just find it fascinating. I remember the first sci-fi film that I recall coming on the scene, Star Wars in the 70s. I think it was the 70s.
A Star Wars is
We
fantastic.
our mouths were just open at the technology, So um yeah, I'm excited about that. We wanted to talk just briefly before we leave. We got one more comment. Hold on real quick. Oh, Penny. Hey, Penny. What an excellent opportunity. Thanks for watching, Penny. She comments when she can. And I appreciate her so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Um,
Trying to build opportunities around us. That's the goal, right?
oh yeah, absolutely. And we all know I know some music video creatives out there, and I'm gonna make sure they see this. So they see the opportunity. You need to get down here. You need to do the 24-hour film challenge thing.
Uh-huh. Well, and they should
Mm.
submit their videos because the best music video in Grand Rapids is a $500 cash prize, and the audience vote is $250. So again, I really want to push people to take their craft to the next level, and part of that is getting all of these people in one room because film is very separate. Like if you work on a TV show, people in film are like, and if you work on a film, people on TV are like, uh, so I want to kind of use Grand Rapids as a place to bring all different levels of filmmakers together because there's just so much that we can build and there's so many learning opportunities. And a random note, I have a young woman who I used to coach. She told me she was going to be a YouTube star. I was like, all right. She is now a YouTube star. She financially is able to take care of herself and her entire family. So, maybe you want to be a filmmaker and you need to find funding and you can't find it through traditional means. You can use smaller time content to build that. Issa Rae is a great story for that. So,
I'm gonna also I was doing some searching because I thought, film festival, who does that? But when I did some searching, I found out there are some people who were put on the map at film festivals. So don't discount it, including Quentin Tarantino. We know him from Pulp Fiction, and Lee Daniels. We know him from The Butler and Precious. The film festival that they participated in years ago, kind of put them on the map. So don't discount this one. And Michigan is notorious for having an abundance of creatives on all sides of the camera.
Mm-hmm. We definitely are. And so we did some this year, we'll do more next year, bring in some Michigan film natives who may have left for judging. So one of the judges, I mentioned him earlier because we worked on a documentary, Eric Alexander Hughes. He probably wouldn't like to say this, but Eric, I was a better editor than you when we started this process. Now you are phenomenal and run laps around me. And he won 4 awards, I believe, at Cannes for film, for music video editing. And he is going to be one of our judges for the music video. And he is hands down one of the best. He's worked with everybody from like J. Cole and Kanye and J. Lo. I mean, Snoop Dogg, like across the board. And he's done different commercials for big brands and worked with HBO. And it's just funny because I look at him and I'm like, there was a time where I was better than you. And that time does not exist. It existed for 5 minutes in like 2008 when you were coming out of college or something.
He worked on his craft, huh?
Yeah, and his family is from Detroit, and they moved out to LA to pursue film. And so kind of bringing these pieces back, there's different directors, and even one of the producers from The Simpsons, she came to Grand Valley, and I wish I could recall her name, but she came and spoke, and she was from the UP, went to Michigan State, and went on to be a producer for The Simpsons. And I was like, what? And so the more you look into a lot of these roles, the more you realize how much talent is in this state and is in this city. And they kind of leave because of, the opportunities haven't been created. So we want to keep them here and let's build some stuff here as well.
Which brings me to another topic, kind of off topic. The state of Michigan. I know we used to have a lot of film incentives for people to come in and film within our geographical boundaries here in the state of Michigan. And we have a whole list of films that have been
Yep.
shot right here in Michigan, mostly in Detroit, but some also on the West Side, some in the UP. And if I started naming films like 8 Mile and like Somewhere in Time, everybody be like, "Yeah, I know that film." Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. But um, what is Michigan doing to, what's the effort for bringing back film incentives?
So I'm not as tied in on that as I would like to be, but
Mhm,
I've recently heard from Deborah Havens,
mhm,
and she is part of Traveling Moon Productions. But they are rebuilding the West Michigan Film Alliance, I believe is the name. And the state is considering. There's been a lot of petitioning to get some of these incentives back because there was, yeah, I was very fortunate that when I was in college, I was at GV from '08 to 12, and was a film major from 10 to 12 when I got accepted into the film program.
mhm.
Most people don't know that. Like, you have to get accepted into film. So you have to take these classes and pass them, and they're not transferable anywhere else. So if you don't get accepted into the program, like that would kind of, I was so stressed. But Facebook told me that 12 years ago I got accepted into the GV program, so
Ooh,
it's on my brain.
all
Um,
right.
yeah, really exciting time. So you get into this program, and during those 2 years, from 10 to 12, because of the incentives, there were so many films, and so I was able to work on lots of films, which then led me to a job at Wood TV 8, operating a camera, which opened doors for me to get a invitation to come be an intern at Universal. And I wouldn't have been able to do that had the industry not been here. And it did disappear in, I think it was 11 or 12, um, when the incentives got kiboshed. So I'm hoping they will come back. Even if it's just a kind of a compromise and not the top incentives in the US, it would just be nice to open the door to the film industry again.
So if anybody wants to help with the lobbying of that effort, they can contact Deborah Havens at Traveling Moon Productions. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Please do that because we need that. We need it back. It brought revenue to the state of Michigan, and it also brought jobs.
Jobs in a new
Jobs.
industry. Like, there's, I don't know too much about the east side of the state, but on the west side of the state, there's like a lot of manufacturing, craft brewery, retail. There's just not a ton of work, especially creative work. And so that opens the doors for so many people. And we lost a lot of films at that time. I remember Oz was in Detroit and they left. I think it was Batman versus Superman that they left and moved to Ohio. So it would be great if you aren't aware that this is going on. Now you know. Um, and if you see an opportunity to sign on a dotted line to say yes, we should have film incentives, just sign it. You can walk down the street and see people shooting. It just is so much fun, to kind of see the change in a way that you don't with other industries.
Okay. Appreciate that. So once more, the Grand Rapids Film Festival will be held here in Grand Rapids. What's the date? September
22nd to 24th.
Okay, 22, 23, 24 of this year.
Yeah.
Go to the website, and the deadline for submission of your film works is
September 1st. So it's right around the
September 1st.
corner. Yes, do not be late. We need time to judge it, and we want to give you the opportunity to win some cash. So submit, submit, submit. Do not be scared. And if you don't have the $20, I mean, every category is a little bit different, but if you don't have the $20 to submit, then find somebody that's
Find
like,
it.
I'll do it. Yes, find it.
Find it.
Because you want to be a part of this. If you are a business owner, maybe you didn't make your film, but you have a commercial that you gave somebody the idea and had your commercial made. Submit your commercial. Those commercials will literally be playing during Art Prize for from 10 to 5. For 7 hours, your commercial will be playing on a reel during Art Prize. I'm going to tell you right now, that's the cheapest $15 for advertising you have ever spent as a business owner.
Wow.
So submit your commercials, submit your music videos, submit your shorts, submit your feature-length films, come out, meet the team, be a part of the community, and just kind of get to enjoy film in a medium that we don't often get to do.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you. I was feeling the passion right there.
We crushed a lot in there. I appreciate you being passionate about this and doing such a great job with the festival this year. And I know your board appreciates you.
Oh yeah, and I appreciate them. This year they've been on top of it. It's been a lot less stressful, and I'm glad that we've gotten a couple of new guys to the team that are adding. They're like 20, so we're like, yeah, you do the footwork, and I'm like, I'm not the youngest anymore, so it's nice.
All right. Well, thank you again for your time. Any parting thoughts before we wrap it up?
Only thing I can say is check out the GrandRapidsFilmFestival.com. You can see previous events, previous winners. Go to the new event page, read the details that interest you, and just come. And if you aren't sure, maybe you don't have something to submit and you're not sure if you want to sign up for a workshop, come on Friday. It is free. And then you can kind of see if you want to engage further.
Okay. And check out the Facebook page.
Yes.
For announcements.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for the sponsors and board members and volunteers. We appreciate you for loving our city. And we'll talk to you again. Thank you for watching, everyone.